This was advertised to me as a 1930s, 1940s era Thordarson tube amplifier. But I just received this thing the other day, and I don't think that that's exactly what this is. Let me show you what I mean. First off, there's no tube markings. There's no indication of what tubes go where on this unit. And the only thing on this unit that indicates a Thordarson is this transformer right here. And as you can see, it's a Thordarson type 6226. And from the looks of things, it looks like they're using that as the audio output. Let me just flip this thing around. First off, I'm noticing these holes weren't really drilled out very well. And I've never owned a Thordarson amp before, but from what I've seen of these amps, the quality of these amps would have been much better if this was an actual Thordarson amplifier. There's nothing really on either side. And I get to the back here. This is the speaker jack. But I don't see anything else on the back that would indicate this is a Thordarson tube amp or what model it would be. So when I got this thing, I decided I'd take a look inside of it and see just what's in here. See maybe if I can reverse engineer this thing and at least get an idea of what tubes would go into this unit. And this is what I see when I look inside this thing. I see parts just hanging off in midair, and just a random selection of parts too. This beautiful assembly right here, making Crosley look good. And that's just hanging out in the open. What else? This wasn't even soldered. I don't know what this was supposed to be. And then there's that Thordarson transformer I was talking about earlier. It looks like it's just being used as an audio output. But then that has me wondering what these two are for, assuming these are even connected to anything. I mean, if anything, I would imagine these would be better suited for an audio output than what that little Thordarson transformer would be, but we'll see. So I was also looking around inside of it, and this, I believe, is going to be the rectifier tube, just given the proximity to the power transformer as well as the filter cap. And if you look close enough, you can see the high voltage wires, the two yellow wires right there, be for the high voltage AC, and then the red wires would be for the filament and where the DC would be taken from. But I don't see that there's any wires coming off that would be for the DC. I just see the filament. And I'm looking at these tube sockets, and I notice that the only thing that's connected are pins 2 and 7. That's the only thing that has really much of anything wired up to it, or be pins 2 and 7. On an octal tube, pins 2 and 7 are usually the filament tube, or the filament pins. So the only thing that looks like it's wired up would be the filament. I don't see any indication. Oh, check that out. Check out this wonderful wiring. All right, focus, please. Okay, yeah. Well, then it decides to go out of focus. Okay. Yeah, they just ran the wire right through the terminal lug. Anyways, yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. It looks like this might have been somebody's kit project. Ooh, we got floating wire. Floating unconnected wire. UL approved, floating unconnected wire. Anyways, I'm not seeing anything here. It looks like this was maybe a project amplifier that somebody was building, and they just grabbed whatever parts they had. I'm really not convinced at all that this would have been a Thordarson amplifier. Like, just the sloppy quality of this. I don't think that this would have left the production line at Thordarson if this was their amplifier. It looks like it was somebody's kit project that they either gave up on, they got bored, or something, and they just never completed it. So what my thoughts were, since I've already been kind of scratching up a bit of a design for a tube amplifier, is I was just going to completely gut the inside of this and then keep the transformer. I want to check this capacitor and see if that's any good. Or I might just replace it anyway, I don't know. I'll keep the tube sockets, so I'll drill out the hole for this thing because it's kind of binding on the chassis. And I'll polish up these, or I might do something else with it, I'm not sure yet. But I was going to get a couple of triodes for the two inputs, and a couple of 6F6 tubes, and I was going to use this socket here as a speaker connector, and I might keep that jack in the back as well. And of course, I've got a couple of 4-pin 5Y3s I could use here. And then here, I was thinking I might put an indicator tube here, like an I tube or some sort, and then just build a completely new amplifier out of this. Maybe do that as like a weekend project, or like one of my junk box electronics projects. But anyways, I thought I'd just show this to you and let you guys know what I'm up to. Thanks for tuning in, and if I decide to do any further electronics work on this, I'll make an additional video on that. But thanks for tuning in, and bye for now.